very special and kind of different edition of Ball Nines Roundhouse. Today, I'm surrounded by a bunch of lefty pitchers from MLB. I'm the only right-handed guy in here, so I'm the freak. I would just like to introduce everybody going around. I got Bill Pulsipher. How are you, sir?
Good to be here.
Glendon Rusch is back with us once again, who's the self-proclaimed glue guy in this mix. You've played with all these guys here, haven't you?
Yeah, all teammates. Good to be here.
Gotta love it. We got Will Ohman with us for the first time. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I got to just say that Glendon Rusch is easily in my top 300 teammates of all time.
I can vouch for that.
Saw that coming.
Last but not least, once again, our friend Wayne Franklin is here with us. How's it going, Wayne? Been a little while.
Pretty good. And let me just say that I can also say Glendon Rusch is in my top 300.
That's the high praise.
There you go.
Nice.
We're all in the same boat.
Get in there while you got time, Pulse. Get in there.
I was going to say it might be in my top 500 as many places I played. Jesus. We're probably all in that same boat.
Only had 325 teammates. So.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that and see it. I got to be close for sure. No doubt. Some of them speak Chinese from Taiwan, and some of them only speak Spanish from different countries, but all teammates nonetheless.
Do any of you guys have on your Twitter profile, do any of you guys have the number major league player you were? Like, I see a lot of guys do that. I'm not sure what my number is. I bet.
Well, I have two of mine.
I looked it up one time.
I have my minor league number and then my number when I first came up. But I remember I tweeted about that a couple of weeks ago, and I told you got to get on board, and you had, 6 or 7 numbers?
Yeah. Oh, no. I meant the like what number major leaguer you were.
Oh,
so, like you're 15,620th.
Yeah, I see Bob File has that on his Twitter account.
Yeah, I've seen some guys have that.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Well,
is it tweeted or X? What is it
it's
now?
X now. Yeah, come on. Times. It's X.
So if we're doing this, Bill, just so you know, you're number 16,689.
Thank you very much. 16,000. One more time, 16,000.
689.
It's a pleasure to be that number.
Let's go around the horn. Keep it going, Will. Let's go around the horn. Come on, we're on.
So I am Baseball Reference right now.
Yes, you're Rocco for this show.
Oh, I'm Rocco. Okay, good.
Perfect.
Okay, the glue. He was 17,027th.
Wow. I bet you we're close, Glendon. I bet you I'm close to you.
I would think so.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was not far after Pulse.
Yeah.
And
I was 1995.
Wayne, you're 17,727th.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
And what number were you? Will, what number were you?
I'm looking. I was saving me for last. I'm 17,802.
I'm the oldest guy.
Yep.
Damn it.
First to the show, though, man.
I think I'm the whitest.
Probably first one out too. Probably though. Unfortunately.
Yeah. When were all of our unceremonious exits? I used to have season tickets to games, pretty good seats, and then one day they told me to stop coming.
Yeah. I was 05 with the Cardinals last time out.
Wayne, what were you?
06 with the Braves.
Okay. I was spring training of 13, so my last game was in 12.
Very nice.
I was 09 Rockies. And yes, Will, to go pile on to what you said, they move you out and your seats go up a little higher and they put armrests on your chairs.
Right.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And you have to pay for your beers.
And you have to sit next to normal people. It's like the plane.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, sitting coach at the game.
Yeah, flights.
Oh God, what's your boarding number? I'm E287. Any chance you got something midway between the aisles?
Chris, have you ever had a show just hijacked right out of the gate?
No, but that's all right. I mean,
I think he kind of knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fully expected it. That's great. I don't mind.
Yeah, this became a fear last night. This became a true fear last night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of, I just realized as long as it's not, too 2X rated. I don't really give a damn. Go ahead. You know, I mean, it's, eventually
Well, we got
we'll
close last night, I guess, but
Yeah, that got dangerous
bring
in a
that part
hurry.
up, nor the sponsor. That
you never heard that
that's
saying
concept.
though, the broke dick thing. You never heard that before, huh? That's definitely a baseball
me?
thing.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh no! I've heard that. I just
That's definitely a baseball
I think
thing.
the
that's for sure.
sponsor for the Broke Dick Lefty Club was.
I think we
you know,
we
I
represent
didn't
that.
wanna,
I think
Traction
we
gonna
represent
call-
that pretty well.
We're just going to call it the Don Joy brace.
Yeah, exactly.
that's
I knew
the
exactly
family
what the
trait.
rap was for too. I figured everybody knew what that was.
Traction therapy was phenomenal.
I would have expected nothing less from Will either, to be on it with a quick picture and naming the group chat real quick. It was solid. Nicely done.
I think that there was something that, a rubber mallet
I
can
didn't
handle,
want to
right?
ignore them. I didn't want to ignore all you important people.
We were having this good old fashioned rubber mallet. Fix
Just
the
hammer it
problem.
out,
Yeah, just get it done.
bang it out.
Love it.
Anyway,
Chris, you got any questions, man? Are we going to do an interview or?
Will, I got a lot of questions, man. But let's start with one that we were actually just going to. We started talking about a little bit before we started, and a couple of guys, had different views on it last night. Marlins game, Sandy Alcantara, they pulled him 101 pitches. He was throwing a 1-0 shutout. Pulled him out, put in David Robertson in the ninth. Nick Castellanos came to bat, hit a 2-run home run. He said after the game, I was surprised they pulled him. So just to start off, because I want to get the pitch count and things like that, I'll just start off, let you guys start talking about that. What would you have done in that situation? Last year's Cy Young winner. Do you leave him in? You take him out? What would you have done in that situation if they came to get you?
Go ahead, somebody jump in there.
Yeah, anyone who wants to answer. I mean, I didn't want to direct it because I thought everybody would start, but you know what? I'll start with you, Will, since you asked.
Okay, so he's at 101 pitches. He's 8 innings, 4 hits. He's given up a run. He's up 1-0. Easy argument to say he's done his job, and take him out and hand it over to the closer. For those of the guys that say you want to send him back out there, give him 5-10 more pitches or whatever. My thing always when coaching is, if I'm willing to pull the guy after the first or second hitter, I shouldn't send him back out there anyway. So in that regard, he's done his job. He's put his team in position to win. Now, if he was sitting at 85 pitches, different story. And this brings a whole nother topic to the conversation, where we look at I think it was back in 2014, over 60% of the pitches thrown in the 6th inning or in the 6th inning were thrown by a starter. And by 2021, that figure had gone down to about 14 or 15%.
Wow.
So guys are being trained to go max effort for less time. But in there is a command or control issue, as opposed to, because you're chasing the strikeout, therefore you're going to throw, pitches this far off. You're going to throw pitches in the dirt. You get to the deeper counts, and that's problematic. What's interesting is the converse relationship between the number of pitches thrown 6th inning or later and the fact that IL days have almost, if not doubled, it's like 250% of what they used to be when the starters were going deeper, because you're now taking 4 or 5 guys and having them cover the 3 innings or 4 innings on the back end of the game. So overusage is actually a problem, as opposed to a higher pitch count, in my humble opinion.
You're saying usage from the starters with the amount of max effort pitches early on.
No, I'm actually saying that the IL injuries are a product of starters going max effort, but when you're using 4 relievers a night,
right,
regardless of what your train is, your shuttle bus from AAA or AA is, you're asking a ton out of guys who are not equipped to go as far, because they're being trained in the same way.
Yeah.
You see it every year that the teams that are good over 162 and that rely on too much bullpen and their shorter to start, or starters or short. They don't win. They don't win in the postseason usually.
Come to the end of the playoffs, those relief guys they're done. They can't get anybody out. I mean, you can't blame them because they throw every single night. That's
exactly. They do the opposite,
and they face the same hitter every single night. For 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. The chances are you're gonna come out on the short end of the stick there as a reliever.
Yeah, I mean the benefit of what you're talking about, Will, I think is huge. When starters go a little bit deeper and you keep your pen more fresh deeper in the season, that's what's going to benefit you down the stretch. Now, some of the teams don't care because they're not in it, but you see it every year. The pens are getting abused more now than they ever have before. And when you want to count on those guys in big situations and big series in September and October, they're not as sharp as they should be.
Yeah, out of gas.
Yeah, I mean, you look at relievers, on the whole, and it's an up and down job. You have a good year, you have a bad year. You have a good year, you have a bad year. But usually in there's a 3-year streak where you're in your prime. And when you're talking about guys who are featured in 70 plus games a season, and they do that 3 years in a row, I mean, they're due for a fall off.
For sure. Just to get back to the pitch count in that, I'm interesting to put Robertson into a situation just being traded after. I'm in Long Island, so I follow the Mets relatively closely.
How's your week going?
It's not very exciting, very unprecedented kind of. But I don't think he really wanted to go, and then to be put into, obviously you always have to be ready, but to throw him into a 1-0 game, first time out there, he might have been a little emotional, and like you said, he was surprised that Alcantara was even pulled. So that could have been a factor as well. But I think personally myself, I agree with Wayne, but I think there's another way of looking at it is, Will, is I give that guy one hitter. If he gets somebody on, maybe I pull him there, but I don't know if I'd rather have Robertson in maybe the first time in a 3-run lead as opposed to a 1-run lead. Give Alcantara a shot at it. I don't know. It's tough to say.
Now, Wayne, you had a different opinion on that. You had said that you'd give him 5 or 10 pitches or another batter as well, right?
Oh yeah, I'm going to give him some more pitches. I mean, I didn't see the game, so I don't know everything that's going on. A lot of that comes from feel, from watching your pitchers, from knowing your pitchers, but I'm a big fan of if your starter is better than whomever the alternative is, I'm going to leave that starter in, especially if he's not totally gassed. I mean, that guy's a horse. And I don't think he was out of gas if I had to guess. But then again, I wasn't there. I don't know.
He's got 115 in him. We used to have 115 in us. I don't know. Maybe not anymore.
Yeah, I think he did.
I agree.
I didn't see the game either. I mean, the assumption is, I saw him pitch an A-ball with the Marlins, and he was pretty special.
Probably couldn't imagine how anybody could even put a bat on the ball, I would think. I mean, he's pretty nasty.
Well, I mean, the hitters and the pitchers in A-ball, we've all been there. I mean, you don't have a clue what you're doing on the mound. The guy in the box certainly doesn't have a clue. So, everybody's guessing.
And he's never seen it. He's never seen anything like that from off the mound either. Well, usually A-ball guys, I know some of the young guys that have been around in my area that have turned into pro baseball players. They struggle hitting right away because, you're playing in the Northeast and then jumping into pro ball and you're seeing stuff you've never even imagined seeing, because you don't see 90 plus, 95 plus on a regular basis on Long Island.
Oh yeah,
in high school or college.
You could see that the dude was a big leaguer.
Right.
In A-ball, that was easy. But Glendon will tell you. You go work with an A-ball kid on pitching, regardless of his stuff. They'd ask me, hey, what are we going to go work on today? I was like, let's try forward. Let's see if we can throw the ball forward. Oh, good. You did that. Let's see if we can get it near the catcher, like within 4 feet. Okay, you did that. Cool. Let's see if you can get it near his body. Then we'll try the glove. Get it in the clown's mouth. Let's pretend we're at a carnival.
Speaking of A-ball, though, kind of to your point, Will, like you said, the way these guys are being trained to go max effort, and they're going to go shorter into the games, which in turn get your bullpen a little more gassed earlier in the year. Is that is that just now the way it is, or are you going to see? I mean, I saw the Yankees brought in Andy Pettit to try and help out some of their pitching. Do you think you're going to see more guys like that come in and kind of try and even it out a little bit? Maybe get these guys to go deeper, save these pens. Because I mean, if you look at just the Yankees bullpen, I mean, they're done and it's August. I mean, they're mostly fried because these guys are going 4.5 innings. You're 4 1/3 innings. I mean, it's do you think we're going to see kind of that? A return to control command as opposed to just throw it as hard as you can and get this guy with a high fastball because he's swinging up anyway.
Well, so I mean, the training protocols in the off season and chasing velocity. I mean, velocity offers you the chance to make more mistakes in the zone. I mean, it's undeniable. The harder you throw, the more mistakes you can make. So why wouldn't you train that way? When it comes to actually doing actual application in game or in practice in a side session, I have plenty of friends who are still with organizations, and they're all teaching command. They're all teaching repeatable mechanics. So it's not the max effort per se, because this all started from that tweet about Alex Manoah.
Yeah.
That you had,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, I mean, he's in the dome. There's something going on there, and the struggle is real. But the fact of the matter is, there's not a single one of us that ever dialed back and tried to play at 90%. Because if you do, you die. You get waffled. Now you're going to sacrifice sometimes a little bit of velocity for command because you want to locate better. The Greg Maddux quote. I get in a deep situation. I'm not trying to throw harder. I'm trying to locate better. Okay. But you're still going max effort to that location. You're never going to dial it back. You're going to give your absolute maximum. I think the issue is that, baseball right now is valuing the swing and miss, valuing the whiff. And until that value is reestablished as what, in truth, in my mind, the 5 most important guys in any organization are the 5 starters, because they relieve pressure off of the GM, the president, the assistant GM, the coaching staff, the bullpen, and the hitters. Because when those guys are dominant and going deep into the games, everybody can do their job at ease. And all you have to do to back that up is look at the run the Braves did, when Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddux were sitting at the top of that rotation. Yeah. Those are 3 number ones in their prime. I mean, and that's what it can do for you. If you have only one guy that can go deep into a game, every 5th day, the bullpen takes a breather and just goes, "Oh, thank God."
So what about if we rewind and go back to the training at a young age now, where you're saying that your friends that are in coaches and that are teaching mechanics and teaching location and that, but I know I give lessons and I rarely ever have a Rapsodo out, very rarely ever have a radar gun out, things like that, because I'm a firm believer in those things, mechanics, repeatable mechanics. Because when I came up, I didn't have those kinds of things. I just had good stuff. And then when I got hurt, they told me, well, the way you threw was because you weren't repeating your mechanics. The way you threw was why you got injured. And then you tried to learn it. Maybe these kids that are coming up now are being taught the velocity training, because you have all these programs around it. Yeah. You're throwing weighted balls at 9, 10, not that young, but 12, 13 years old, and focusing on velocity as opposed to putting the cart in front of the horse, where learning early on, learning's good solid mechanics and repeatable mechanics. And the reason why the ball will do certain things if you move your body a certain way, as opposed to everybody selling the velocity dream, because obviously, like you said, velocity kind of rules, and you can get away with a lot more mistakes with velocity. But if you don't learn how to pitch because your coach is calling all the pitches, and you don't learn how to pitch because your pitching coach really isn't a pitching coach, he's just a velocity coach, then I think you get years down the line, you get these guys in pro baseball and they never ever even learned how to pitch. So then you're going to try to tell them at the AA, AAA, major league level, hey, we're going to work on a repeatable mechanics instead of thinking about, I got to pinch my scaps, I got to do all this stuff that they're teaching these guys to throw hard, as opposed to just learning fluid mechanics like water rolling down a river, that it's like, by the time these guys get to the big leagues, they're not pitchers. They're extremely hard throwers, very good at throwing the ball hard, but just
Absolutely.
really don't pitch.
Yeah,
No,
that's a great point.
There's nothing you said that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I think the other thing too is, if you look back, just to add on that real quick, what Pulse was saying, if you look back at what all of us did through the minor leagues, is we pitched a bunch of innings, and guys had 500, 600 innings under their belt before they were big leaguers. Now you're asking guys that don't even have 100 innings or 150 innings or 200 innings under their belt to go up and learn at the big league level with less command, better stuff, most of them. But it's a whole different task. It's a different world.
100%.
Whole different.
But is it better? I'm not sure it's better. I'm not sure
it's better either.
It's hard.
Better athletes, worse product.
Yeah, I mean, Will will tell you, Pulse, and Wayne, when I was in the Cal League, that was advanced single A, and I was getting major college pitchers who everyone thinks these guys know how to pitch because they were, at Texas A&M or Clemson or Auburn, whatever. And they had no idea how, because they had never gone out on the mound and had any reasoning behind what they were throwing other than
that was what they were told to throw.
They were told to throw that. So it was a really interesting learning experience for them. And I actually enjoyed that more than anything, probably, because we all know above and beyond mechanics and anything else, it's learning how to pitch, commanding it, having confidence, and
throwing
being
with conviction, whatever pitch it is with conviction,
Yep.
But we never had our games called. I mean, I signed at 17 out of high school.
Right.
My high school coach he didn't call one pitch. My travel, it wasn't travel ball, it was American Legion. My best friend was my catcher. So when we're driving around in the Oldsmobile, heading to games, we're talking about this, or he's throwing me signs while we're playing RBI baseball on the Nintendo back in the day, So these guys, they got, and I know I've had two sons that grow up and they've been through it, and I do the pitching lessons thing, and you do the travel ball thing, and these guys don't have any rhyme or reason as to why they're throwing what they're throwing. And then the coaches in the travel ball world, they don't ever sit down with the guys and spend time with the catchers and the pitchers and kind of explain, maybe, hey, remember that at bat, and this is what I was thinking, or what were you thinking? Like, I don't think the guys even think. They just see and go. It's a totally different ball game, totally different game.
I think it changed a lot when they raised the zone too. That zone, when all four of us played, it was wide. It wasn't high.
Right. Yeah.
And if you could command that, you could just.
It went from this to that.
Absolutely.
It went from your cameras to
that's
my
a great
camera.
analogy. And I think that changed a lot too. That made them go to the harder thrower. Just let it fly high in the zone and see what happens.
See what happens.
That's what it feels like now.
See how many guys you can graze.
But you know what? It still hasn't changed. If you go all the way back, even the guys that we saw that were good, riding fastballs through the zone and all that stuff, they still had to pitch down in order to pitch up.
Yeah.
But we've gotten to this point where they think that you can just constantly pitch up, and there's too much room for error up there. You're gonna get hammered up there.
Especially when you get tired. Especially when you get tired, that ball comes down farther.
Yeah.
The more tired you
Doesn't
get.
have quite as much on it. Last night, I was watching the highlights of the no-hitter last night, and Fromber was getting guys to swing at 92-mile-an-hour two-seamers that were bouncing basically right in front of the dish. You can't tell me that we can't still get guys out sinking the ball and doing that. Now, obviously, you got to ride the ball up in the zone. That's pitching. We're not just throwing the upper part of the zone. Pitching is up and down, in and out. I'm not going to say using all 9 quadrants, because there's some of those quadrants I feel like you want to stay out of. But using the whole zone is important. And I was hilarious. It was because I work nights. I got home. I'm watching the highlights and seeing guys swing at sinkers that are bouncing in the ground. I was like, oh my God, that looks like Mike Hampton pitching to me. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was like, wow, that's like totally a throwback. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. Or Dallas Keuchel when he was in his prime.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
You look at it and you go, yeah, Glendon, same as you, just to pile on. I always told the kids, I was like, look, you pitch down at the knees to earn the right to go to the belt, to earn the right to go to the letters. I was like, you can't start at the top and work your way down. And we do an exercise where I'd literally have them go down to the belt, and then to the letters, and then see if they could replicate it going back down. And it's almost impossible to work yourself back down.
Mhm.
And you're starting up there, and then when, not to name any companies' names, but one of the weighted ball companies, when they started advertising that you needed to throw 50% off speed. Now, I was a 50% off speed guy because I only had 2 pitches. I had to be a 50-50 just to get outs because I was going out to a gunfight with a knife. So I had to figure out how to survive and get away from danger as soon as possible. I told Bobby Cox, I had a 5-minute rule. I was like, if I'm out there for 5 minutes or longer, dude, come get me because things are going wrong. But
you know yourself well, though. That's good. I was self-aware.
I was like, yeah, and Chipper, play a step and a half to the line because there's going to be some rockets
coming down there.
So nonetheless, but you look at it and go, 50% off speed. And so a lot of guys were getting boxed into this data, this data profile of, hard spin fastball up in the zone, hard spin breaking ball, off of that. It's a great mix. We all know that the high fastball to a breaking ball, those marry off each other very well. However, I would always present the case. I was like, so we're talking about a curveball that lands in the zone at the big league level at about 35 to 37% clip.
That's
in the zone.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like that's
I was like, so what we're basically saying is we want to go 2-0 on everybody before we unleash a fastball, which, by the way, is pretty hard to hit, especially when it's coming 95 plus.
Well-located fastball is hardest pitch to hit, right?
Well, Glendon, you remember Maddox would always say that and have his kid out there. We'd ask his son, like, hey, Chase, what's the best pitch? What's the best pitch in baseball? A well-located fastball.
Yeah, not wrong.
Well,
hey, do you guys think, Will, if you were 50-50, I know looking back on my career, I think if I pitched in today's game, I would have went further towards 50-50. I was more like, I probably threw too many fastballs, honestly. But I look at
but I also saw you throw a complete game on like 103 pitches and 98 of them were fastballs.
Well, yeah, but that's like the perfect day, right? But I look back to a lot of bad days and I go, man, I probably could have mixed more because I came up in that minor league era of coaches where it was like, you got to establish your fastball. And, you're left-handed, so pitch like Tom Glavine. I'm like, I'm not Tom Glavine, but that's how you're taught to pitch. And it's like, okay, you got to be 60 or 65% fastball. And that has changed. And I think I would have changed back then, but I had it so ingrained in my head that got to establish your fastball. Got to, like, Pulse or Wayne, would you guys have changed your mix?
Maybe somewhat for me. I think a lot of stuff now they have stats with, where the fastballs are the most fouled off pitch, and then the sliders and the splitters are the 2 most swung at and missed pitches. I think they're trying to pitch to that idea now. Once I learned how to throw a changeup, I tell you, I fell in love with that because I was more or less a fastball and a slider guy, and then I really dialed into the changeup and found it, and that really made my fastball better.
Yeah, I know me. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you first.
I know me personally. I was looking. Obviously, love to strike guys out. I mean, there's nothing better than getting a strikeout. Yep. But I like 3 hoppers to the shortstop. So I'm trying to cut that ball hard in on the right-handed hitter and try to get down his bat a little bit and hopefully get him to hit it to the shortstop. So I wish I would had a better changeup. I think if I would have developed my changeup better, I think that definitely, yes, throwing more changeups. If I look back, that would have been a big positive for me to take my pitching in my career to another level. Was definitely adding a better changeup that I just never really got to the point where I felt like, man, I really like my changeup. And I look back and regret that I didn't do that. So I think that would be, like you said, with the percentages, definitely, if I could have mixed more changeups in to get those easy soft outs, and you can get ground balls to short on that changeup turning over. So
all day.
Definitely think I would have liked to have mixed that in more looking back for sure.
So to that end, Paul, it's funny. I worked on a changeup for 20 years, and I tried every grip on the planet.
God.
Could never
I feel
get
you,
one
brother.
to work. It was unbelievable. As soon as I retired, boom, had one.
Figured out.
No way.
Figured it out. Could throw it on the money, no problems whatsoever. I was like, hey, this would have been useful.
Funny.
I might have gotten more.
Right.
I might have gotten more than 3 right-handers out in my career.
Right.
But the funny thing is that from the time I can remember, the first time I ever pitched in a game in Little League till the day I was unceremoniously retired, I tried to strike out every hitter that I ever faced. And the mentality on that, though, was generally I was coming in, excuse me, I was coming in with guys on base. So units out there, and I got to go pick up his mess. And he's got runners on first and second. And I know if I strike the dude out, I save him 2 runs.
Yeah.
Okay. Or if I walk him, I got another chance to do it.
Right.
So my walks were a little bit higher, but I was always going for the strikeout. But the reason I was always going for it was I was like, I want to be in the zone, but I want to be making pitchers pitches. And I could never understand, and I detest the statement of pitch to contact. I was like, contact's going to happen. I was like, I have a 40-year track record on this. I tried to strike everyone out, and sometimes they hit it.
Right. Well, I think that goes back down to
that three hopper
well-located pitch.
I was like 3 hopper to short. I was like, well, that's a benefit. I was like, that's great.
It's my favorite play in the game, 3 hopper to short, man. I love that.
Especially when you got Ray Ordonez.
When you got Ray playing behind you, hit it to him all day long, man.
I like the rollover to first where I didn't cover and just hey, who's supposed to be over there?
I tell you, I pitched till I was 37, and I was playing in the Atlantic League and I made it known, hey, if you get the ball hit to you at first base, you might as well just start running over there, bro, because I'm falling off to third and I'm old and fat now, and there's no shot I'm getting over there. So you might as well just go ahead and take that thing. It was well known.
True statement.
Not going to make it.
Oh, man. Well, that's funny. Actually, you guys, I was going to ask you guys, what your approach to righties would have been to get them out, but you answered that already. So that one's gone. But that's fine. See, this is why I don't need to do much. I did want to ask, out of guys that are out there today, guys that are pitching today, especially lefties, who are some guys you have your eye on, some guys you enjoy watching, some guys that, just have it to you guys? Wayne, I'll just start with you just because why not?
Guys who have it, left-handed hitters?
No, pitchers. Yeah,
pitchers.
Yeah, we're not talking about the guys who fail the 70%.
Yeah, no, don't worry about them. They're not here. We're not talking about them.
Good point.
Geez. Let me get through this. Well, the Astros have one right now.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Watching a good lefty is just really fun. They're just gonna kill you all days with sinkers and changeups, and they're just gonna pound low in the zone, and they're not gonna try and overpower you. You don't see that very often from lefties, and I think it's where we get the bad label as being thumbers, or
don't use that word.
Yeah, but get up there and face it and try and hit one of those good sinkers, man. It's hard to hit. So, geez, I don't even. I like when Snell is on.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he's fun to watch.
He's fun to watch, man. When he's on, he's really fun.
Nasty. He's nasty, man. When he's on,
he reminds me of what I attempted to do, and he's just at another level because he's bigger, stronger, nowadays athlete, throws a little harder.
Yeah.
But when I watch him throwing that fastball and that curveball, it just feels like, man, that was me at 21, just not quite as big, not as tall, but obviously he's on fire right now too. He's a fun one to watch for sure. And obviously Valdez with the sinker, and that is more, like I said, it's like watching Mike Hampton throw. It brings you back to seeing
that. Is a really good call right there.
Yeah. Will, Glendon, I have anybody you really enjoy watching right now?
I'm trying to think of the kid from his name's escaping me. The young kid from Cincinnati's really good.
Oh,
I've been watching him.
What is his name? We're out of the loop.
Green.
No, the lefty.
He's right-handed. Lefty.
McClanahan's awesome. I like him.
The
Freed,
kid,
Freed when he's healthy. Freed
yeah.
is
Yeah,
he's
the kid
really
from Tampa
good.
Bay. That's McClanahan.
Yeah,
McClanahan.
McClanahan.
Yeah, he's fun to
Pitching
watch
tonight.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fun to watch too.
But yeah, what's the kid's name? There's a young kid from Cincinnati.
Lodolo, right?
No, not him. There's another one.
I'm looking him up right now.
He's been absolutely phenomenal. He's had as many, I thought they said as many 5+ inning games with no runs given up as anyone in the league this year.
Pretty legit.
Wow.
Yeah, he's really good.
I haven't seen him yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
watch
threw against the
him.
Mets
Andrew Abbott.
last week.
Yeah,
That is
Abbott.
Abbott.
Yep. Check out his numbers.
Oh, yeah, they're stupid.
Yeah. And he's a
65 innings pitched, 45 hits, 22 walks, and 71 strikeouts.
45
Yeah,
hits and 55
that's
innings.
dominating.
Yeah,
45
rookie too. Youngster.
Wow.
I think he's a college pitcher was pretty advanced when he came out of the draft, but yeah, he's good, man.
Yeah, that's
So I mean, I was gonna echo Framber, but the guy, the lefty I like watching the most, honestly, is Kershaw. Just because he's at the back. He's at the back end. He's always done the same thing. But there was a point where his stuff hit the wall. Yeah. We've all hit that wall where our max stuff is no longer available. You show up at spring training and you go, "Hey, did I forget to pack my fastball?"
Yeah,
because it's not here. And then it's like, okay, now we got to go to work. Again, it's like I brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
But when he started adding that little slider, and the way he uses it against these incredible athletes, regardless of if they're going uppercut swing or bomb or nothing,
you're still one pitch away from a 500-foot smash.
Always.
You're right there, anywhere in the lineup.
But he uses that slider as a changeup. Because both the slider and the changeup sit in that 8 to 10 mile an hour range, sometimes 6 mile an hour off the fastball. But you can use it as a changeup because it's that middle speed pitch. And it was always incredible that he could go just fastball, curveball as a starter and be as dominant as he was. Mm-hmm. But then when he added that slider, it's like when Mariano Rivera, all of a sudden developed a two-seamer and a changeup. And it was like, dude, now you're cheating.
Right. I was just going to say that it's amazing what Kershaw has been able to do with exactly 0 pitches that go left. Every pitch he throws goes right, and he's been doing it for how long now? Obviously, first ballot Hall of Famer, but never to have a pitch to go left and be this far along in his career as a left-handed pitcher is truly amazing that he hasn't had to learn how to throw that changeup. Or, hey, you got to grab it 2 seams and sink it every once in a while just to keep him honest. No, he doesn't. He doesn't, which is really phenomenal, and probably your average guy wouldn't realize, especially if you weren't a left-handed pitcher, how hard and how impressive that is for him to be able to do that for this amount of time and never throw a ball that goes left. It's baffling, because I know that's what they told me. You got to learn how to make it go left. And then when you're always cutting it, you're, like you said, third baseman, be alive, bro, because fans in the stands down there, be alive, because it's coming your way. But that is amazing that he's never thrown a ball that goes left. It's just phenomenal.
Glendon, you had a question that you had wanted to ask, and obviously Rocco's not here. What was now? You had wondered about the league-wide ERA since
the shift
ban. Yeah, I was curious as to more or less.
I'm going to look into that. You guys talk about it.
All right, more or less the starters. I'm thinking a lot of people have talked about the pitch clock affecting guys, but I've noticed overall, and I have not looked the numbers up, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the majority of the everyday starters in the rotations ERAs are a little bit higher this year than they were in previous years. And the first thing I thought of was the shift, because some of those ground balls that get through extend innings, and then all of a sudden,
that short right field's not an out anymore.
Yeah, getting out of an inning with nothing could turn into an inning where you give up 3 or 4 just because one ground ball rolled through. But I don't know exactly how to look that up, but I'm curious as to how it's affected everything.
I would think if you just go look for league starting ERA 2022 to league starting ERA in 2023. I mean, you'd think you might be able to get a number just off of that, because it's only been this 1 year that they've put the shift back, taken it away. But definitely, there's got to be so many ground balls that are going through that didn't used to for the longest time. Although I've cussed the shift for years, because I wouldn't want to pitch. I wouldn't want to pitch with the shift, because I wouldn't want my shortstop over there, because I got a lefty hitting in the 5.5 hole when I get 2 strikes on him. But I guess it's a give and a take for sure.
Yeah, I feel like, I was not that good against left-handed hitters, and I feel like I gave up a ton of hard hit ground balls through the 3-4 hole.
Yeah,
Yank
over there. I couldn't get a lefty out to save my life either. That's not good when you get moved to the bullpen. I would have faced 9 righties that could hit home runs over any lefty, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. When you go to the pen, then it's like, all right, bring me into the game where a lefty started and I got 8 righties in the lineup, so you can go 2 innings against all the righties.
Yeah, you did great tonight. I get to face some righties.
Yeah.
So here you go, Glenn, and here's your answer.
Okay.
I just did the National League. So, and that's actually kind of prescient, just because of the fact that you have the DH everywhere now. So in 2022, league-wide ERA was 4.05, and runs per game was 4.36. Whereas this year, without the shift, league-wide ERA is 4.35. And runs per game is 4.63. So it's roughly a third of a run.
A third of a run. Yeah.
That makes a difference.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Because that's a large sample size. So, I'm just thinking, I've seen more starters this year where they fly the numbers up on the ticker when they get out on the mound. It's like, oh, he's got a 4.5 or a 5 or a 3.9, as opposed to, I remember seeing some years where it's like, dude, does every guy have a 2?
I tell you what, I watched some of the games. It's the tickers going by who's starting tonight, and you see this guy's 1-7 with a 7.1, and he's in 13 starts. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I would have loved to have played nowadays, because it felt like anytime my ERA got to hovering around 5, I was on a plane going back down to AAA and not getting that 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th start. We're 19 starts into the year, and you got a 7. And you're getting the ball tonight. It blows my mind. I would have loved to have gotten that opportunity to try to, quote unquote, work some things out.
Yeah, Wayne saw it live. I went 1-12 in Milwaukee when Wayne was there, and hey, now that I look back on it, you have to be pretty damn good for them to let you to go out there and
keep going out there, right?
Was it you being that good, or were the options that bad?
It's actually, you guys should look it up. Chris, you might like it. What is it? The FIP, fielding independent pitching. There was like a 3-run differential that year. I basically had, dudes were blindfolding and throwing balls out in the outfield, and none of them were getting caught. And our defense wasn't bad. I mean, I think Wayne, was that the year you threw almost like 200 innings that year?
I threw 200 innings that year. Yeah.
And I just had the worst luck of all time. I don't know what I did. I don't know if I had pictures on C-League or what happened, but things were not going well up there.
That's funny. In Milwaukee, I was in '99 in Milwaukee. I left 24 inherited runners, and 24 of them came around to score.
Oh,
so that's an ERA killer.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Can you just let me stay out here for one more hitter, please? Because if you're taking me out, these guys are coming in. You might as well just put them in and throw some other guys on base, and we'll start all over again.
That was my last year in 12 with the White Sox. Every runner I left on got cashed, and every hitter I saw hit a bomb. But I had a 1 whip. Like it was ridiculous. It was like I didn't let anybody on base, but if I did, they were scoring.
That's the irony of being a relief pitcher. You can come in and get somebody else's runners out. You can come in and get somebody else's runners, but if they come in with yours out, we're taking you out. You can't leave me in and get some of my own runners, leave them out there.
No, they knew about the 5-minute rule.
Get them out.
There you go.
before we go, I just want to get usually whenever we do one of these, I get a prediction or a final thought about anything this year, and it could be about anything in Major League Baseball. A little prediction, what you think is going to happen now. The trade deadline's over, all that stuff is done, teams are set, and it could be kind of out there. Could be a very bold prediction. Let's say. Well, I'll start with you. Why not?
Let's see. What do you want me to predict?
As far-fetched as you want.
Let's go. I'll go with it this way. Either Baltimore wins its first World Series in 30 plus years,
40,
or Tampa Bay 40. You said
83.
83. Okay, yeah, okay. The Maryland flag.
Was Scotty McGregor on that team?
Yes, he was. I think he was.
That was one of my favorite lefties to watch growing up. I grew up in Northern Virginia, so obviously
there you go.
Definitely knew who Scotty McGregor was.
That's right.
So I'm going 40-year drought for Baltimore ends, or Tampa Bay finally gets their first.
Awesome. Not bad. Wayne, how about you? Since we're on Baltimore, and you have a Maryland flag.
Yeah, I represent Maryland, not Baltimore. I still think the Padres got something in their tank. I just really do. Mm-hmm. I really think they're going to get hot, and but still think it's going to be hard to beat the Braves. But for a bold statement, I'll say San Diego is going to come out of nowhere, get to the playoffs, go deep.
And that would be if they win it, that would be their first World Series, right? They've never won a World Series.
That's right.
Bill, I'll go with you.
My prediction is Mets fans are going to be disgruntled. Not all of them. no matter what happens. And I love them. I love them too.
That's a pretty fair prediction.
I'm not going to be wrong. I'm dead. I'm going to be dead on.
Yeah, Caesars is not taking odds on that one. All right, I got three predictions for you boys.
Oh,
Cubs are going to make the playoffs. The Angels are going to make the playoffs. And Dick Mountain is going to go 4-1 for the Padres down the stretch and get them back into the playoffs again.
All right.
I like calls number 1 and 3.
Any Dick Mountain love is good. I mean,
absolutely.
How old is he? 44?
I went and sat in 41-degree weather to watch Dick Mountain's first start of the year in Cincinnati this year for the Pirates, and it was awesome. Yeah, he was out there grunting and throwing as hard as he could, and it was awesome.
He's the best.
He is.
The ageless wonder.
Funny because he kind of reminds me of what I used to tell people at the end of my career was, I'm a power pitcher. It might be coming out at 87, but I'm throwing it as hard as I freaking can. So he's the same way. He's throwing as hard as he can. He's a power pitcher. It might be 91, but he's a power pitcher. He's throwing that thing as hard as he freaking can. He's throwing 100.
Absolutely.
That's 91.
That's a perfect description.
Yep. 100%.
Well, let's go Dick Mountain, and we'll revisit some of these predictions at some point. But I think Bill, you got the layup with that one. That's for sure. With the Mets,
I took the easy way out. And I love the Mets fans. Believe me, I love the Mets fans.
Pulse didn't even take the tearaways off. He just came right out of the locker room and just.
And we didn't even get to talk about the hardships that lefties have to go through to succeed.
Very sad.
We didn't get we said we were going to talk about the scissors, right? Those damn right-handed scissors.
Well, you know what? I thought you guys had to get out of here. If you want to go 5 minutes on lefty hardships, I'm all for it.
I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go soon. I'd hate to, but I got to go soon.
Wayne, what you got?
Wayne, I know you got the scissors. You love talking
Chris,
about the scissors.
How long ago did you and I talk about those damn green finger hold scissors?
Been a while.
Episode 2.
There you go.
Exactly.
My thumb's still
the hardship
using those right-handed scissors.
I still think the desk was harder than the scissors.
If you guys want to come back and do it again, man, I'll gladly do it anytime. This was a blast.
Yeah.
But I want to say thank you to Bill, Glendon, Will, Wayne. I'm Chris. This has been the Southpaw episode of Roundhouse. And we'll comment more about the scissors next time. Thank you, guys.